Well, the Senate is controlled by the Republican Party. Let's not kid ourselves. We can talk about coalition government here, but it is basically a Republican-controlled Senate, and I am now in the minority. Our Committee on Committees actually appointed me back to be the ranking minority on the Commerce and Labor Committee, the Senate Commerce and Labor Committee. This is a committee, frankly, that I chaired for 12 years in the House, so I'm very pleased to be back on that committee. That committee has many issues of importance to our district, from worker compensation law to unemployment insurance law to minimum wage laws to issues around liquor regulation, issues of gambling regulation, a very broad agenda in our committee, as well as business licensing. Incidentally, we work very closely with small businesses on their licensing law. And being a ranking minority again on that committee will be very helpful for our district and use my background and expertise effectively. I'm also, frankly, on one of the key committees for this legislative session, that be the Senate Ways and Means Committee. The Ways and Means Committee will be taking up this critical issue of education funding, which has been brought to us by the courts. And to me, it's critical for us to have folks from Pierce County, from our district, on Ways and Means. This is the Budget Committee. It also in the Senate deals with capital budget issues. We have a priority in our district of seeking funding for our skills center out in the Bethel School District. This will enable me to really push hard for that issue. The other committee that's new to me is government operations, and this is a committee that has a broad agenda, but it deals with election law, timing of elections. It deals with government issues for cities and counties. I look forward to being on this committee, and certainly will give me an opportunity to work with constituents on that area, but it is a brand new committee for me. The 5 bills that were introduced are all about reducing benefits for breadwinners who happen to be injured on the job. All kinds of breadwinners, from folks in all kinds of jobs, find at times in their life that they're going to be injured on their job and at home without benefits. Our state law says that if we gave up our right to sue employers over injury on the job for sure and certain relief, and all the 5 bills are basically diminishing that relief for injured breadwinners. And this impacts families. And the problem is all these bills are trying to reduce costs for employers, but at the price of reducing benefits for workers. And to me, this is just not the direction to be going. We have problems with costs in our worker comp system, much like we have problems of costs in our healthcare system. And we need to be directed at trying to reduce those cases which drive our costs. Usually a very small number of claims drive a lot of costs for us in this system. But these bills reduce benefits for everyone across a broad sector and are really have not been worked out or have been really analyzed carefully by both the departments as well as and were brought forward very quickly in this legislative session. According to the chair, they're jobs bills. I have questions about whether these bills will actually create jobs at all. These bills really are aimed at reducing benefits for workers who are injured on the job. And sometimes, I mean, this is, again, as I said, we gave up our right to sue the employers for what we call sure and certain relief, and these bills are taking away that relief. You know, I have been our district has a very large presence of both active and retired military. And throughout my legislative career, I've always worked on issues around the veterans agenda. We work closely with the Veterans Legislative Coalition, and it is a priority for me. Several years ago, to fund the Veterans Innovation Program, which is a small program within the National Guard as well as within the Department of Veteran Affairs to help families of returning veterans with costs that are not that are not being funded by other programs for them. This provides about $300,000 a year. We did not have a funding source for it in difficult times, so we tried to develop a raffle to support it. The raffle has proven to be very difficult in these hard times. A lot of folks have not been buying these tickets, so what we're going to do is we're going to shift this is a priority program and should be funded. And so what we're going to do, instead of specifically allocate money from a raffle for it, we are going to actually use the lottery as a basis of funding for this critical program, the Veterans Innovation Program. The Lottery Commission will continue to work with our Veterans Legislative Coalition to try to promote sales to fund this program, but it is a critical program for veterans and we need to make sure it's funded properly, so we're going to use the lottery in general rather than the raffle. At this point in time, probably there is a bill that I'm introducing regarding the effort to address the issue of stalking. There was a tragic incident at one of our K-12 schools, our middle school, or frankly it was a primary school, where a teacher was murdered by a stalker. For several years, we're trying to strengthen the protection of women, usually who are being stalked, and there is a bill that I am prime sponsoring in the Senate to address that problem. We'll see what happens. It's a critical issue and we need a legislative resolution for it. I'm also sponsoring legislation to address wage theft. We have had a problem in particular in the last several years with an expanding underground economy, which is using folks, day laborers, without paying people correctly and taking advantage of people who've been forced into day labor situations. So we're trying to not only develop a bill to address the wage theft around that day labor situation, but also to address the issue of certain contractors who are converting their workers into individual, what we call individual contractors, and therefore avoiding appropriate payments on wage and hour issues and on worker comp and on unemployment insurance. This creates a real uneven playing field for those contractors who do things right and contractors that do things wrong. So these are a couple of the issues that I'm working on. Keep in mind, we'll have a real critical bill in Ways and Means this year dealing with the expansion of the Medicaid program, which will basically ensure more than 250,000 folks who currently don't have health care insurance. That expansion of Medicaid will be a critical issue for us this session, and obviously K-12 funding. We have seen in the last several years with the recession, erosion of funding for our not only K-12 education, for higher education, and it's our desire to address that issue this session and restore funding for this critical engine of opportunity, our schools and our community technical and four-year institutions. Well, you should all know that the districts, because of redistricting, our district moved south. So we now have a large part of the Bethel School District in our district, and we didn't have that in the past. And we lost a little bit of the city of Tacoma as well. And so what I'm urging all of our new members of the 29th District to come to this, we're going to be having this coming week and next Saturday, 2 town meetings. One of them will be at the South Campus at Bates. The other one will be at the bookstore at the Pacific Lutheran University. I'm encouraging everyone to come and meet us and chat with us about their issues and what they would like to see the legislature doing. You'll have information on this video laying out contact numbers for us. If you're unable to attend our town meetings, please feel free to contact our office. If you want to come down and meet with me, I always give priority to constituents to talk about issues. This is your office that you have. My office is your office, and I welcome you to come and use this office as we work on these critical issues facing our communities in the state of Washington.